Hey guys, thanks for finding my channel once again. So I'm going to be continuing with my series of tutorials and lessons about digital art and painting. This time it's going to be on portrait studies. So I find it's a good practice to do a study from movie stills and study the light and composition of them. It's always good, and it's good practice to improve your observational skills as well. So you want to be able to basically draw or paint anything if it's in front of you, like accurately. So that's the dream. Anyway, so this one is going to be a scene from the film Edge of Tomorrow, and it's going to be Emily Blunt's character Rita, looking badass. So it's based on a Japanese novel called All You Need Is Kill. So factoid. Hey, so guys, I just wanted to show you my thought process when it comes to painting portrait studies, or any study for that matter, whether it be landscape, portrait, guns, weapons, stuff like that, whatever. If you've got reference on your screen and you want to paint that reference, then this is a good approach. So what you're doing, you're dividing the image into abstract shapes. So you're getting out of your head the different objects that you're drawing. So you're just drawing shapes. I might want to start with just this background shape, and then but you're basically making a puzzle for your mind. So that could be one shape there. This could be another shape. And then you go even further than that. So you see where the skin is lighter there. That could be another shape I put in. And it's all part of the puzzle that you just slowly fit together. But obviously instead you're painting these shapes on a blank canvas and then piecing them together in your mind. So I'm just doing this as an example, just to show how my brain works when it comes to doing studies. You're picking out all these abstract shapes that make up a character and then fitting them all together on the canvas. So it then removes from your mind the object that you're drawing, because as soon as you know the objects that you're drawing, you'll then start to interpret it in what your mind thinks an eye looks like, for example. You know, you might come to drawing the eye. It's like, oh, now I'm going to draw the eyes on this character, and then you go like, oop, that's what an eye looks like, and then it's just not accurate to what you're drawing, is it? What you're studying. So instead, when it comes to drawing this eye, you're not thinking of it as an eye. It's a shape. So I would probably start off by, if I'm going to draw the eye area, I might try and get that shape first, and then I've got the eyebrow then. So if I've got that shape right, I can go, oh, there's the eyebrow there, and then start. There's another shape there, maybe. There's another shape. I can just paint the shadow of the nose there, and then you've got the eye then, but you haven't necessarily gone and drawn an eye. You've just drawn the shapes that you're looking at, the different values, the lights and the darks that make up around the shape of the eye. So again, I'm learning how to explain this properly. So it's a skill, isn't it? Learning how to teach and explain methods. Like, I just do it, basically. It's always come naturally to me, this kind of thing. So it's kind of hard to explain sometimes, but there's been books written about it. There's a book by, I think, Betty Edwards called Drawing from the Right Hand Side of the Brain. I recommend that one. That's trying to explain what I'm trying to explain now, which is if you're doing studies, so that's life drawing. So if you're outside drawing people or drawing a scene, or if like this, you'll do it like me, you're doing like a study from a movie still and you want to do a painting of it. It's the mindset you've got to get in, is to just break everything down. See, there's another shape there. into abstract shapes and then connect it all together like a puzzle, basically. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. So what I might do now actually is do an example for you guys quickly. So let's erase over this. I don't want this video to go on for too long. Oh, it's going to take up loads of room on my phone. So if I drop this in again, make it a bit smaller, sort that out a little bit. Burp, burp, burp. So another thing you'll see me doing is I do not colour pick. I don't use the colour pick at all because I just, for me, I'm quite strict on my methods. Like I want to try not to cheat too much. So because I really love traditional painting, so I want to be able to spot colours just by looking at them and know how much what hue it is and what saturation it is and what value it is just by looking at it. So I'm not going to learn that by using the colour picker tool all the time. So let's just quickly, so no colour picker. So I'll just do it as quick as possible, so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Let's use the airbrush tool. Blip, 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 blip. It's lighter there. Down to yellow. Yellow down the bottom. A bit more saturated. A bit more white there. Right, so let's try and pick out some of these shapes. So let's do the main shape of the head there. So you can see you can use the background as your reference. So let's get that light colour. There's a shape there, like not the hair, but the shape outside that. So just going a bit wrong. Okay, it's only a tutorial. Just putting in the basic. So that, see, there's a shape there with the sword, and it goes there. So now we can do that bright triangle shape there as well. No, less saturated than that. Like that. See that shape there? That describes the back of the neck and the sword without actually in my head I'm not going, right, I'm drawing the sword. It's just the shape of it. And then that shape there. So, oh. Darker than that. Ignore my noises, this is how I paint. You've got to make stupid noises while you paint, it makes you a better painter. Fact. A light bit there. So hopefully you can get the idea of what I'm trying to get across here. I'm not focusing on the separate body parts, it's just the shapes that I'm concentrating on, trying to get out of my head what I'm actually drawing, because I'm not interested in what I'm actually drawing. It's just breaking it down. That doesn't make any sense, does it? But hopefully you do understand. So shape there. You see there? So I can go ahead and draw that in. I'm probably not going to go too much further with this. It's just an example. Oh no, that's quite yellow there. Poor Emily Blunt, I'm massacring her. So yeah, that's been like 2 minutes. So, but that's a good enough thumbnail, to be honest. Oh, let's get some there, 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 and then there, and start there. Yeah. So hopefully that gets across what I'm on about. I don't think it does, but as I say, I will get better at this as I continue to make videos. So watch this space. Do a little bit more. Yeah, and then sometimes I might. So with the eyebrows, basically you're keeping it as simple as possible at this stage. There's no detail, it's just rough. And then the top of the forehead, the eyebrows, the bottom of the nose and the chin, that's always evenly spaced when it comes to anatomy, like that. So that's the same for all human beings, unless you're misshapen somehow, like a few friends of mine. So this is what I'd call the ugly phase of a painting. Every painting goes through it, every study goes through it. You've just got to remember, you've just got to keep going with it and keep making minor adjustments, and as you keep adding more and more paint, more and more values, lights and darks, it's going to start making more sense. The most important thing with drawing female faces especially is the position of the eyes, the nose and the mouth. Like, it's got to be exactly right. If like one eye is a little bit too low, I mean, I can see already on here the right eye, well, our right eye, as we're looking at it, is too low, and it's just going to make the person look demented or ill. So yeah, especially with female faces for some reason. With male faces you can get away with it looking a little bit rougher and a little bit out of place. I mean, look at me. I'm a little bit rough. The human face is the hardest thing to draw and paint, just because the placement of the features has to be accurate, otherwise it's going to look a little bit weird, like that right eye right now. Yeah, so I always find it one of the best ways to get better at observational painting, meaning being able to look at something and recreate that on a canvas. Using people's faces as practice for that is the best way, because it's the hardest subject matter, so you're going to get them more accurate. So after you've like painted a bunch of faces like this, so if you do some landscape studies, that's going to be a walk in the park, because if a tree is a little bit off, a little bit not accurate, if the branches aren't all going exactly like how they are in the study, no one's going to notice. It's a tree, like this. Nature is all over the place. It's totally random, isn't it? Organised chaos is nature. Yeah, so there'll be an ugly phase which will last quite a while, and then near the end, when you start adding the little highlights and start smoothing out the brush strokes and the edges, it will then start to come alive. Like I find with the eyes, as soon as you put the little light reflection in the iris, it then comes alive and doesn't look as ugly. But you just gotta keep pushing forward, keep working at it. As you can see, just keep working on those values, those lights and darks. And you got to see, all painting is, everything's dark until there's light. So there's a light source in the scene, and then you're just painting the way that light source illuminates the subject. So you can see from this image the light source is coming from the left somewhere, and Emily Blunt's face is being illuminated from the left, and it's slowly fading into shadow behind. So it's just about simplifying a complex form into smaller shapes. So again, you'll see me for these kind of, I like my studies to look a little bit traditional, so I use textured brushes in Photoshop. So they kind of simulate a brush on a canvas, like an oil painting. So you get that nice canvasy texture and that tooth to the brush, so you see the bristles on the brush strokes. So I like the look of that. I don't like my work to look overly digital. So you see I've zoomed in a little bit there, you can actually see the brush strokes. So yeah, digital's good, man. It's like traditional but without the mess. It's the same, as you can see I'm just working on one layer. It's the same approach as you would, the same way you'd approach a traditional painting. Exactly the same, but there's just no mess. And obviously you have an undo button and a save button. As I just did there, I just saved it. So there's advantages of digital, but you can completely approach a digital painting in a traditional way, which is nice for someone like me, because I'm actually much more interested in traditional painting than I am digital painting. I think digital painting, a lot of people just cheat too much and just use shortcuts all the time, and for me that's just not satisfying enough. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I want to be able to create art with any tools, a stick and some mud, whatever. That's the joy of it. It's the process, which I like. So I'm going to do some more oil paintings in future. I've got plans. There's a portrait I've already painted digitally that I then want to paint with oils, hopefully soon. Just finding the time between my client work is quite difficult, to be honest. So, but that's no excuse. It's laziness. So this is where the painting's starting to come alive a little bit. Add in the little highlights in the eyes there. The eyelashes just coming through. See, you can see, like, I never bothered with the eyelashes early on. Like, stuff like eyelashes, the colour of the eyes and little reflections on the lips there. All that stuff comes last. Like, it's not even important. The important bit is the fundamentals, getting the placement of features in the right place is the most important thing first. So what an amateur painter would do, like what I used to do when I was younger, I'd, like, if I was doing a study of this, I'd spend like all day just painting one of the eyes, complete that, then move on to the next one. Like, it just doesn't work. You need to start the whole thing as rough as possible, but just focusing on the fundamentals of the placement of the features, the light, the dark, everything. As they say, like the icing on the cake. Like, what's a cake without the batter and the structure of the cake? And then that holds the icing on top. So, but without the cake underneath the icing would just flop about. Like, does that make any sense? No, it does not. So now I'm just working on the armour. Favourite bit. Make it nice and shiny. I think actually the eyes look better there than they do in the final. Another hard thing about doing studies and just actually painting in general that I struggle with all the time is just knowing when to stop. Because I constantly overwork a painting. Like, I get to a point where, like, I like when a painting looks slightly messy and you can see like brush strokes and loose bits everywhere. And I don't like anything too over refined. But I get clients all the time saying, "Oh, it's too messy," or "It's not messy. It's too tidy," and I just don't know where to get that kind of happy medium from. It's difficult. Because I think my style, I like a messy looking painting, just as long as the fundamentals there. I think that's what you'd call expressionism, is it? Or something like that. Impressionistic. So like right now, I like the look of that. The focal point's detailed, so the eyes are detailed. Like the eyes are always the focal point on a portrait. So that the important bit's detailed, and then I like the fact that the armour down the bottom is really rough. I think that looks cool. It's just, it looks very human. Like a human has done it, which is quite rare these days, unfortunately. Very sad. So yeah, it's hard to know when to stop detailing a painting sometimes, because I mean some paintings require it to be highly detailed. It just depends what the client wants, I guess. So, and some paintings look better highly detailed than they do rough. I think portraits look good pretty rough, other than the focal points, like I just said. So, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm waffling. So yeah, once again, guys, thanks for visiting my channel. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace.